Hey everybody, Science Fiction Reads here, back with yet another, you guessed it, book haul. That's all I do. I should just change the channel to SFF book hauls or something. The irony is I have read the least amount this year than any other year, and yet it's the year I create a YouTube channel. But anyways, that hasn't stopped me from collecting tons of books in the past month. So I've got a giant box here from thrift stores, a couple Christmas gifts, some stuff I bought myself. I sold a few books on eBay this month, and I tend to use that money for just science fiction books. So in no particular order, I'll just go through this massive end of the year book haul. I've got Salvation from Peter Hamilton. I've deliberately read pretty much nothing about this trilogy because I want to go into it blind. It's his newest trilogy, and I know very little about it. Dark as Day by Charles Sheffield. I kind of consider him an underrated author because not a lot of people talk about him online or in some of the Facebook groups I'm in for science fiction readers. This is the third in a trilogy. Takes place in the solar system, but he wrote one of my favorite series, the Heritage series. Basically, it's just a series about big dumb objects basically left behind by some other race, and humans are trying to solve the puzzles left behind. And I kind of think that series was never finished because he kind of had an untimely death, but good series. And I'll have to track down, I don't think I have the first two in that series. No, don't think so. This is cool. This is the Michael Moorcock trilogy. Dancers at the End of Time, something I've heard of but never really read up on. I did read the synopsis before buying it, and it sounds pretty epic. And to have all three of them in one is nice. And that was like $1. This I just bought myself yesterday. Grimm's Fairy Tales. It's just a really nice hardback of these classic fairy tales, and it's 15 bucks, but I mean it's illustrated too. Looked cool, and I'm interested in reading these. I read a couple over the years. It's just too nice to pass up. Charles Darwin, The Origin of Species, a book I have bought twice online. The first time the order was canceled because they didn't have any in stock, and the second time it arrived and the second half of the book was missing. It was blank pages. So I found this at a library shop, a little part of the library that sells old books for practically nothing. So I finally have that. A Christmas gift for my girlfriend, Polity Agent by Neil Asher. A book I already have, but not in this edition. Where are we here? You can see I'm trying to collect as many as I can in the same size because I have OCD and I just can't stand not having all the same edition. A couple of randoms. The Lure of the Basilisk. This was basically free. It was like 10 cents or something. No idea what it is. Some random fantasy. The Labyrinth Gate. I think this is the third in a trilogy, and it does kind of sound interesting. I don't remember. I read the synopsis like a month ago. Don't remember anything about it. It does sound interesting. The Lord of the Rings. Never read it. These were $1.50 for all three. I think they're from the 70s, but they look ancient. These are well read, and they have cool artwork, but there's stuff so tight in there, it'd take too long to get them out. Robert Forward, Time Master. I don't even know the synopsis for this. What have I read by Forward that was good? I forget. But I do want to read more by him. This is another random, doesn't sound great, but it was basically free. The Midnight Dancers. I'm not even going to read the synopsis. It's too ridiculous, but Here was a Christmas gift, Otaku, which sounds kind of like Ready Player One and Otherland by Tad Williams. Ready Player One I've read, Otherland I haven't because it's just 4 massive tomes. I'll get to it someday. Sounds interesting. Ready Player One for me it was good, but you know, I had no desire to read Ready Player Two. This sounds decent though. Another Christmas gift, Neil Asher, Lockdown Tales, short story collection. One of the few books of his I don't have. I've got almost everything. I'm getting there. The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I think I had one of his books in one of my hauls. I don't know when I'll ever get to him, but I gotta check him out sometime. And I'm trying to read more fantasy, as I've said, so. Here's some thrift store finds that I found 2 days apart. The Complete Book of Swords by Fred Saberhagen. This is a trilogy for one of his well-known series. I think it's a book club edition? No, it's not. I don't think this one is either. The Lost Swords. I think this is the next 3 in the series. I don't know. They're both in great condition. And they're kind of post-apocalyptic science fantasy. People of the Sea and People of the Lightning. I've collected a couple of those in recent book hauls. Haven't read any of these yet, but if they're cheap, I grab them. The Inferno by Fred and Jeffrey Hoyle. No cover on this. I've read something by Fred Hoyle and it was really good. So I grabbed that. Don't know what it's about though. John Varley, the Apuchi Hotline, something like that. He says right in the foreword how to pronounce it. Afiyuki, maybe? I don't know. The only thing I've read by him was that, what's that trilogy? Oh, right, the Gaia trilogy. And it was decent, not too bad. One of my previous book hauls, I had 8 out of the 10 books in this series by L. Ron Hubbard, which I'll never read, but for some reason I couldn't pass them up. I'm missing 2. These were like 25 cents each, so I grabbed both, but it turns out they're the 2 I already have these. So I'll just donate those probably. Gregory Benford, Eater. This probably has something to do with the black hole, and it's probably very hard sci-fi. Yep, black hole heading toward our solar system. Don't know if I've read Benford. Yes, I have. I don't know. My shelves are not organized. People of the Masks, another one of those. Oh, Arthur C. Clarke, The City and the Stars. I've got like 4 copies of this, but this one's nice cover art and it's mint condition, so it may very well take place of whatever edition I have on my shelves here. And now a quick break to pull the cat out of the Christmas tree. Okay. Here's an interesting one. Encounter with Tabur by John Barnes and Buzz Aldrin. I did not know Buzz Aldrin wrote science fiction. I think this has something to do with finding something on the moon, maybe. Which would make sense. That's a big tome, but it was cheap. Homecoming, Volume 2, The Call of Earth by Orson Scott Card. I haven't heard of this, but when I saw the art, I mean, looks like some science fantasy. Could be good, say what you will about the author. The Carpet Makers by Andreas Espach. This has a really wild synopsis. I think it's won. What did this win? I think he won not a Hugo or anything, but oh, I can't remember now. It's about a planet of people who braid rugs out of their hair, and they're highly sought after by, I don't know, aristocrats maybe from other planets. But they have some sort of secret past or secret history, something like that. Here's a book with not great reviews, but I couldn't pass it up. I've never read anything by him. Gardner Dozois' Strangers. About a guy who falls in love with a female alien. And I think it's borderline sci-fi, really. I think it's mostly character-driven. Doesn't have the very great reviews, but I don't know. I like the artwork. Gardner Dozois, of course, edited a bunch of anthologies and whatnot. And a lot more, I don't know, you know. Oh, this is cool. Gene Wolfe, Citadel of the Autark. This is a book club edition, but I think I do already have this paperback, but for $1 to get a book club edition, even though the side was not folded correctly, so it's not lined up great, but I thought that was a neat find. Glory Season by David Brin. I've read a few of his books in the Uplift series. This has cool artwork too. Not too sure what it's about. This was free and I couldn't pass it up because I might give it to my nephew. The Merry Adventures of Robin Hood. And some child in the past has used a pen to black out all the eyes. Classic. To the Stars by Harry Harrison. Another book without a dust jacket, but this is his complete trilogy. Homeworld, Wheelworld, Starworld. Now, the only thing I've read by Harry Harrison was that collaborative kind of picture book he did with, I can't even remember the artist now. It wasn't great, but it wasn't a proper novel, so I will give him a chance, and that does sound like a good trilogy. I forget what it's about, but I did read the synopsis. Here's something I was super pumped to find, recommended by my favorite author, Alistair Reynolds, The Best of Cordwainer Smith in hardcover. It is a book club edition. It's just a bunch of his short stories. But then I got home, I forgot I'd not only already had a copy, but I had already done, like this was in a previous book haul of mine. So I don't know which one I'll keep. Probably the hardcover. Probably both. They've got great cover art. Here's a book and an author I'd never heard of, Mary Gentle, Golden Witch Breed. This is either a duology or a trilogy. This is the first in the series. It's got great artwork. I think it's about a diplomat visiting a planet and trying to solve some problems or something. And the kind of low-tech race that lives there clearly used to have advanced technology, but no longer does, and there's some mysteries in there. It's just really cool artwork, though. Here's the science fiction book in illustrated history. This is kind of like the history of science fiction in literature and film up until the mid-70s. I think this may have come out like right before Star Trek, which is kind of, or Star Wars, which is kind of neat. All right, just a few more. Here's some non-science fiction. Art and Empire. This is just a bunch of exhibits at the British Museum of Assyrian art, architecture, stuff like that. I like the Assyrian culture. And I also like the Aztec culture, so I bought this, not even realizing it's in Spanish. But it's got, you know, lots of cool stuff to look at, and I did just finish reading Gary Jennings' Aztec, which was a historical fiction that was absolutely epic, and I became obsessed with the Aztec culture after that. So that was neat to look through while reading the book. I only just finished that. Here's a very exciting one, Belladonna Nights and Other Stories by Alistair Reynolds. This is from Subterranean Press, just released. Only 1,500 copies, and of course this one's signed. I think they're all signed. So that's cool. My favorite author. Gonna be looking at those stories shortly. And I think we're down to the last two here. Trevor Hoyle, The Last Gasp. This is post-apocalyptic scientists trying to preserve humanity. I think this is environmental disaster, global warming type stuff. And I think this is the last one here. Dreamfall by Joan Vinge. Now, the only thing I've read by her is The Snow Queen and one of the sequels. And it was so good. Snow Queen's one of my favorite books. So I picked this up. I think it's the third in the trilogy. It's part of a trilogy, that's for sure. But it sounds good. And it looks like some science fantasy too, and I do enjoy science fantasy. So that's my end of the year book haul. Hopefully in the coming year I have content that's not just book hauls, and I actually manage to read some more, because I'd like to do book reviews and such. But thanks for subscribing. I'm already over 100 subscribers. I only have 10 videos, so that's exciting. Thanks for watching.